Hello everybody, this is Priscilla Nyairia and we are back again with another very educative video about Wambugu apples on how we will be dealing with challenges. You know, challenges will always come, but how we cure it, that is now the problem. Okay, I was going around my farm. This is Wonderful Heaven Orchard, and I came across this apple which is shedding leaves, or it is appearing in a way that I can see my plant here, it is not okay. So now the problem is, why is my plant not okay? And if I realize why it is not okay, I should cure that problem for it to be okay. I want to release the stress of this plant here. As you can see, it has shed a lot of leaves from it because it needs to be very vegetative like the other plants. But again here, you can find some branches are having no leaf at all. And according to the way they have shed the leaves, it is abnormally. So I want to try and know, because we have the reasons or factors that encourage Wambugu apples or apple to shed leaves. Because it is not normal for Wambugu apple to shed leaves. Other apple species shed leaves after each season. But for Wambugu apple, it is very disciplined. It shed some when the other ones are already there. So you should not find your plant looking like these mines here. And if yours is looking like this, or it is shedding leaves even if it is small, here are the reasons as to why it is shedding the leaves. If you just transplanted, the first thing that should come to your mind, it is the plant is shedding leaves because of transplant shock. So what is transplant shock? This is the shock that your plant will get when it changes the weather or from one place to the other, or even temperature, or from just one place or from just one farm to the other. So if your plant you just transplanted like 2 weeks, 1 week ago, or few days ago, and it is shedding leaves, for those who get it in Kenya, for our Kenyan friends, just know that it is transplant shock. And how do you cure it? Transplant shock, you cure it by removing all the leaves. If it is withering, allow it to remove. You have now fastened the process of withering, I don't know, shedding the leaves. That one will take longer. But if you just remove the leaves yourself, it will take more time to recover than it could have taken by doing it on itself. So if it is transplant shock, and that one will only affect those people who get it with the soil and the leaves. For those who get it outside the country, transplant shock can not happen because your plant doesn't have leaves. So what is it shedding? So transplant shock should not worry you. What you need to do is just remove the leaves. If you planted very well in a 2-foot hole, or in the instructions we give and have given it the water after transplanting, then transplant shock is not such a major problem when it comes to your plant. It will recover. It is the same way as when you move from one area to the other, you will tend to have some climatic or weather change diseases. And it doesn't mean that that is the end of you. You can take some medicine to prevent that. And now, to prevent our plant from dying, it is removing the leaves. By removing your leaves, you are telling the plant to only use the energy it have to grow, but not to shed the leaves. So transplant shock, it is one thing that can lead to your plant to shed the leaves. Now, the other one, for those who don't transplant, and maybe your plant is 1 or more than years or even some months, it picked so well and then it started shedding the leaves. Could it be that you are not watering it? Because water, it is the thing that can lead, it can also lead to your plant shedding the leaves. But what plant does, it does not just wake up one day and you find all these leaves were not there. It starts turning like this one here. You can see? It starts turning like this, or this one. It started from here to here and then dropping the leaves. So, plants communicate through the leaves. Then this is not a healthy leaf. So if you see your plant doing like this, maybe you are not watering it well, or you are not watering it at all. That's why it is shedding the leaves. Remember, the plant tends to lose water through the leaves. So if you're not giving it water, it will tell the leaf, I no longer need your beauty. The beauty of a plant is demonstrated or shown by the leaves. The same way to the people is shown by their physical appearance. Now the physical appearance of the plant is shown by the leaf. So if it is lacking enough water for it to grow, or it is lacking water at all, it will tell the leaf, I don't need your beauty. My farmer is only giving me water for life, or my farmer has refused to give me water. What I will do, I will allow you to die. The plant will tell the leaves to die and only use the water it has stored in the stems to maintain the life. And if you don't water at all, it might die. So shedding leaves is a sign that your plant can die anytime. So make sure you are watering it properly with enough water. Again, it can also say, you have given me more water. That is excess water. Now this is another third thing that can lead to your plant shedding leaves, excess water. By giving excess water to your plants, the roots suffer from root rot because they are lacking enough oxygen, and your plants suffer from anoxia, that is lack of enough oxygen into the soil. So excess water will also lead to your plant starts shedding leaves. If you find that your plant is turning somehow yellowish, the leaves are turning somehow yellowish, some brown, and then it just falls down. So be very careful to check if you have given more water. Consider that it rains and like for 3 days and you had already watered it some days. Give your soil time to dry up so that it can also know that if you too much of everything, it's always poisonous. If you know you have given it more water or it rained heavily, you need to consider the way of losing that excess water by building. Maybe you can consider some mitaros. If your soil gets floody, you consider some mitaros along the farm. So excess water will also lead to your plant dying. Shedding leaves, I have said, not unless it is transplant shock. Any other reason that is leading your plant to shed the leaves, it means it can die. It is saying, I'm almost dying. So consider giving enough water, not more. Now, the other thing that can lead, that is now my fourth factor that leads to your plant shedding leaves, it can be pests. And pest means that the pests are coming, they are sucking water from my leaves. Remember, we check the pest on the lower side of the leaf because they don't stay here. They will be burnt by the sun, so they like hiding on the lower part of the leaves. So they are sucking a lot of water from your plant. So what that leaf will do, it will just drop because all the water that the leaf had, the pest has eaten. So always check, and also check on also the dropped or the fallen leaves, whether you can see some pests that are going on that leaf. They will guide you on what pest is affecting your plant, and that's why the leaves are shedding. So pests, consider, if you get the pests, consider the organic pesticide. It will kill. Or also pests, you can also use the traps, the pest and insect traps. That is very organic. They help to trap the insects and avoid it from being affected by those pests. And also my factor number 5 is diseases. Apple is affected by a lot of diseases, but not by a lot of them, but the main disease, it is the white thing, like this one here. So I have already known my plant is not suffering from any other, or the shedding leaves has not been led by any other thing, but now it is this whitish stuff. This is very common to most of the apple plants. So this white stuff is brought by fungal infection, and you will find that most of the people that apples are shedding the leaves, it is this disease. You can see the way it has affected my whole plant. So this is the disease, and I've known it's a fungal infection. So what I need to do, it is to spray the fungicide, organic fungicide, and not only to the affected one, but also to the other plant that I have plants that I have in this farm. So this is the only disease that affect a lot of apple plants. So spray the organic fungicides. The other thing that will lead to your plant shedding leaves, it is lack of light. Maybe you planted it under the shade or under other plants which are more taller than it. So what it will do, it is not getting light as it should get. So what it will do, it will tend to release the stress through the leaves. So it will start turning the leaves into yellowish or brownish thing and then drops. So the leaves starts communicating earlier before it drops. So it is not so common for the leaf to just come out one day and you find that they have all dropped. It is not very common. They just turning and then you find that today they have turned 3, 4, 50. So that is how the leaves will start shedding by this one. And light, if you have planted it somewhere under the shade, your plant will not even grow well. So make sure you are planting it somewhere that it is free space, or even it can access direct light. So light is another, insufficient light is another factor that leads to your plant start to drop the leaves. The other factor is lack of nutrients, the required nutrients for it to grow. So you will find that some leaves are yellowish, some are brownish, some are black. That is a sign that your plant is lacking some nutrients for it to grow. Remember, the plant will always communicate through the leaves, like the way people communicate by their skin and also their hair color change. The plant will communicate through the leaves. So if it is lacking, like when it is growing, nitrogen is very essential for it to grow. So consider giving it. That is the vegetative foliar we talk about. Mostly have a lot of nitrogen. It helps it in boosting its growth. The other factor, it is unfavorable or climatic change. Like now for me here, there is a day that we received very heavy hailstones. So the hailstones were dropping on these leaves, making them to have holes. So that means the plant will be stressed by that hailstones, and they will tend to drop. And for the hailstones, it's a challenge. It is not very common, but again, if it comes and you see them dropping, don't worry so much, because some will just come out again. So another weather change, like hailstones, they will make that plant to shed the leaves. And also the hailstones or even sometimes affect even the flowers. So putting the bird net will also prevent, if by any chance you have the hailstones, because the hailstones will come and stay on the net and drop as the water. So you can cure hailstones if by any chance your place receives a lot of hailstones by putting the bird net. The bird net will be helping you to prevent your plant from being affected by the birds, and also preventing the hailstones from damaging your plant leaves. So those are the major reasons as to why your plant is shedding leaves. I've seen it to some of the farmers and they are very stressed up because the plant will talk through the leaves, get to know why the reasons are there. So thank you very much for watching my video today. Make sure you subscribe and share this video to somebody who is doing apple farming. My name is Priscilla Nyairia. I come from Wonderful Heaven Orchard. It's the only heaven on earth. And we actually experience the feel of an orchard in your own office, which is our workplace, and it is the farm. Thank you.